Hello everyone, my name is Erik and I spent roughly the past 9 years making my own manga comic book called Blithe. And I watch a ton of anime while doing it. But after 9 hardcore years with very few breaks, I had been saving up and I even dove into a little debt just so I could spend 18 days on the other side of the planet. I really had some great times, incredible experiences, and went through some seriously rough situations. I'll tell you all about my personal positive and negative things during my trip to Japan, and hopefully some of you will learn from my newbie situations and choices. Oh, and be sure to check out part 1 of my trip, as this is going to be part 2. The link will be in the description below. Trains! My goodness! Japan sure loves their trains, and it's easy to see why when they hit super speeds of up to 320 kilometers per hour, which I believe is roughly about 200 miles per hour for some of you. I spent a few months in my teenage years transferring from my parents' home to a city where I used to work, and then eventually I had to get my apartment down there because I hated the train. I couldn't stand it. It was slow, it took tons of time, it was always overcrowded. Oh my gosh, trains. I could not stand them. But the trains I went on were not Japanese trains. Those are a total different breed of train. Very amazing, quiet, respectful. Like, there's a lot of things in that train where I was just like, I wouldn't have minded commuting with this kind of a train. In today's episode, we're going from Tokyo to Osaka, and we were unaware of the seating arrangements. When you book your seating, which you must do if you have large luggage, be sure to ask which side of the train Mount Fuji is on. Otherwise, you miss out. Shoot! Mustn't forget this for our trip back to Tokyo from Kyoto. The trains are actually kind of loud. Like some sort of spaceship or an airplane, more realistically. You can't even hear my poorly executed Star Wars Princess Amidala joke. It's why my wife switched to visual comedy. It took a couple of hours, but we finally made it. Welcome to Osaka, Japan! Now we should have gone straight to the hotel, unpacked, planned out what we wanted to do. But when switching train lines while in Osaka, being watched by Hal and seeing an epic Hello Kitty train, we were in a complex that had a Poké Center, a Capcom Shoppy, and Nintendo was there? Bye, suckers! No Galdiv-Wall plushie. Starting to get a little nervous over here. But chill, Erik. You still have Kyoto and a return to Tokyo ahead of you. Maybe they restock by then? So far, I've at least managed to get myself a super cool Gundam shirt that's pretty much a cosplay of one of the blue-collar mechanics of the series. I love subtle things like this. Of course, to anyone who's a fan, it's not subtle at all. If anything, it's screaming right in their faces, but I think that's cool. When I was there, I also wanted to get, like, a polo. And it was really cool. It was like a nice polo, and it had, like, the little, like, inside Gundam ship. I forget the name of it, like the escape hatch spaceship. It was so cool. But it was so expensive, and then I realized that povos don't get polos. Polos, not for povo. Povo like me. We then left these epic stores and made our way to the Osaka train station near a hotel, where we walked with all our luggage for 15 to 20 minutes, a lot of uphill. Only once we reached the hotel did we find out that there's actually a bus that could have shuttled us to and from the train station. And you know what? It's kind of my fault that we didn't know about it. My wife insisted on calling the place just to let them know we were on our way. But I was like, nah, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. This is the swankiest hotel. I didn't expect something like this. After being in Tokyo for a couple of days, coming to Osaka, this is nuts. There's like a pool and there's a waterfall and stuff. Oh, wait, come back here again. Always watching. Riga Hotel in Osaka is so fancy. I honestly wasn't expecting this. It's super pretty. Look at the waterfall in a hotel.
And the river.
Because we're 4 people, it was actually cheaper for us to split on a hotel here. So we were all sharing the room. There's like a couple of extra beds in there. It's pretty great. However, out of everyone there, I'm the only one that doesn't snore. But my wife really had a hard time passing out. My trick to deal with people that are snoring is I usually tell myself that they must be happy and sleeping comfortably because they're snoring. And oddly enough, this kind of makes me happy, and then I'm able to just fall asleep because of it. I'm a really weird person. But going to bed late and waking up early since we've arrived in Tokyo definitely has its toll. Between lack of sleep on all our ends, me being a ball of stress from my Ami figure that almost didn't make it in time, see the last episode, and cramming us all into one room, this definitely drove us all a little crazy. Especially for me, I wasn't the easiest person to get along with until we got to Kyoto, which I definitely regret. Captain Hindsight says it's best in these situations to take a step back and just let the good times roll. Captain Hindsight. We only spent 2 nights in Osaka. If ever you go, spend more nights. My goodness, there is so much, and it's really great. I would have loved to be there for at least 4 to 6 days. First night, we hit up a small restaurant area not too far from the hotel. Food is one thing Osaka is known for? I had no clue. But my foodie friends looked super hyped. Just look how excited their faces are.
For real, the food was nuts good, but because we're from a country where we eat huge portions and a lot of food, it wasn't enough despite it being so good. And actually, there's like a lot of things that we ordered that we didn't even get some things because I think that we kind of went overboard and they're like, no, I'm looking at you. You've eaten enough. Anyway, check out this cool view.
It's beautiful.
The next morning, we got up early and made our way to Osaka Castle. Walking, of course.
Avec la petite musique.
And we had planned to check out the strip mall section afterwards. All of this took a lot of time. Time we absolutely didn't have. It really got shortened due to the castle adventure taking up the full day, which makes sense. It's a castle. It's super awesome. Just check this out.
What are the odds of all the times that I got away from Akihabara that they would have this epic event that starts today? Big thick crow over there.
He's like, oh, you're getting like,
Oh yeah, at first he's like, I could take you, whatever. But now that we've got 2 other people here and we're 4, he's like, well, I don't really like that.
Things aren't always upbeat and fun. I'm going to share this with you all because it's important that you see highs and lows attributed to going on a pricey and not long enough trip like this. I'd rather be honest and give you my 100% instead of just showing all the happy moments, even if this does kind of make me the bad guy in this next situation. So here is where I have to mention that I kind of crossed the line on my trip in Osaka and specifically at the castle. I tend to think like a robot. It's not always that great. In my head, I try to weigh things out and make stuff as balanced as possible. So when it came time to plan out all our activities we were going to do in Japan, I really didn't express myself well. And I ended up getting overly frustrated because of this, where I kind of blew up and had a fight with my super amazing wife, Vicky, while at the castle. I thought of things at this trip as units of time. Like, if we spend 5 hours at a castle, we can spend 5 hours at a garden, and then we can spend 5 hours at an anime district. Hours dispensed equally for each person. But because I hadn't planned things out properly, mostly on the count of walking everywhere, hitting those 20 and 40 Ks a day, it has its ups and downs, we lost a lot of time. Vicky's mindset wasn't on units of time, but rather based on events we initially said we wanted to do before going to Japan, which makes total sense. So if I chose to go to a store like Ami Ami and it takes 30 minutes, then she decided to go on a hiking adventure which took 5 hours, it's equivalent because it's in the itinerary of the plans that we made based off of the time we have available. I should have been more specific and properly accounted for this when highlighting my own activities, so I couldn't go off and discover anime places in Osaka or Kyoto when we got there because I had only put Akihabara down as my activity in Tokyo at the beginning of the trip. So naturally, I expressed my opinions to Vicky in an orderly manner that no, I didn't. I basically blew up about the whole thing. I freaked out and I spoke to her in a manner I shouldn't have spoken to her, which I've been apologizing for since. I feel terrible. It's not usually my style to do things, but again, you know, like lack of sleep mixed with massive amounts of stress and on everyone's end, we just wanted to have fun and I was really mucking it up. So I explained my situation to Vicky in a less than friendly way. She was already annoyed about the fact that going far from cities and camping wasn't particularly viable for outsiders unless they really knew what they were doing. And camping is her favorite thing in the world. Now let's sprinkle on the fact that sleep wasn't so much on the menu for the past few days and bam, a recipe for disaster. We separated from our friends and walked around the castle, hashing things out until we both came up to an agreement for the rest of the trip. We decided to spend our days in Kyoto together, separating from our friends, which we really needed. My goodness, I love my friends, but this trip, I definitely wanted some time with Vicky, and for more than just like an afternoon, you know? We needed some us time on this trip, and we wanted it to be for a couple of days. And in truth, I think that they needed some space from me. I mean, I'm usually an easygoing, high-energy party person, but the beginning of this trip had my brain in all sorts of knots. I wanted to do so much that I had to take a deep breath and just let things go. As my wife and friends were most certainly doing as well, I just didn't handle it as well as them at this point. Once all of that was finally out of the way, after the castle, we made our way to Nippon Bashi, where I got to witness how much more fun their construction is compared to my country.
Construction in Japan is disco.
For real, my country would fix the start of a road, and by the time they got to the end of it 4 years later, they would need to restart from the beginning because they cheaped out on the materials. This way they have infinite work they can get paid for. It sounds smart at first, but over the past 30 years of this, now there's not enough construction workers to make up the demand for everything that's just falling apart. So unfinished construction is just everywhere, all the time. Meanwhile, Japan fixed their streets in the 2 days that we were in Osaka. Apparently they had a typhoon a week prior, which almost put out our entire trip there, but my goodness, they're so efficient. And who wouldn't be with those sweet beats?
Circus construction.
Nippon Bashi is an Osaka sector street which is super long and has tons of malls. Food and activities of all sorts, really fun. We showed up pretty late. Luckily, the nightlife in Osaka is lit.
Erik, what do you think?
Where's the anime stuff at?
This is like, I'm not really somebody that likes gacha, even though I have played a lot of gacha games, like Azur Lane being one of my favorites, and I freaking love... Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna get into this. No bikes are allowed in here. And apparently all they, like, gachas are crazy, right? So I've never really gotten into them, but because there's a ton of this stuff, I was like, I have to get one thing. So I got this cool little ball here. There's like a little robot girl, and you put her in a mech suit. Looks cute. There was an Evangelion thing. Finally, it's $15 for a gacha, and the picture looked pretty, but I mean, is it gonna look that cool for 15 bucks? Yeah, so I went with this little robot girl, and we'll see how it is.
So Erik, did you like your gacha thing?
She didn't come with it didn't come with the robot girl. It was like the metal armor and a ball, and it's like, I guess robot girl sold separately. I'm so disappointed. Like most people that fail in their gambling.
What a waste of money.
I'm sorry,
Now
I don't want to laugh.
And it's a waste of money because now I'm gonna have to go out and find this little robot girl to put in there. How much will that cost me? Don't know.
Don't know, but that's the gacha part, right?
They gotcha.
They totally did.
They got me good.
Dang, gotcha! I didn't show it, but like, I tried to get these cute little keychains afterwards, and I like 9 out of 10 of the different little designs that they had, and of course, I got the one I didn't like. Twice in a row. I was just like, oh my goodness, I should have just listened to Vicky and stayed away. With my bad luck back then, I shouldn't be gotchaing anything. I should have waited until after Kyoto, where my luck turns around, but I'm gonna put a pin in that for now. The malls were so fun and everything was incredibly lively. Plus now, with my new laid-back approach towards the rest of this trip, Vicky seemingly being in the same mindset, things were going smoother.
Jämt spännande. I love you.
The rest of the trip was looking up. Curse you, Kyoto, for being so awesome yet making me go through such a traumatic experience. Okay, more on this in episode 3. Focus, Erik. As the night ended, we started our hour and a bit walk back to the hotel when I had to go to the bathroom, and we went into this crazy place that was like underground. It had like all these crazy beats playing, and my goodness, did I ever find the coolest thing hidden under the staircase of all places. It's one of my childhood heroes. The next morning we got up, and because we were spending several more days in Kyoto, we decided to spend most of the day in Osaka. The hotel let us store all our luggage for the day despite having checked out, which was an amazing feature I had never known existed. Then we checked out Nippon Bashi while everything was open, along with going to their cute anime district. Oh, I'm so glad I got to check it out. It was really cool.
Just touched down in Denden town. I am in Osaka, and I've been wanting to come to this place pretty badly. The only problem is I've only got 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes, let's see how much stuff I can cram in. I already got my Azure Lane card. Let's get to the next one. Look at this place. Look at that Akira bike. That is cool. So I'm walking around the store, and I don't know what the name of the store is. I'm so sorry. Maybe I'll write it down at the bottom here if I get something when we leave. It's full of used stuff inside each cubicle, which is really cool because I love giving a second home to figures. And there's one that I saw that I really like.
Following you.
The Witchblade one. Leave it to me to come to Japan to buy an anime statue of an American product.
Oh, one thing to mention. If you wanted to buy nice mugs, plates, basically any of the artisanal stuff, Osaka is the place to do it. The stores we checked out in Tokyo, and we went to a lot of places, including Kyoto, didn't even come close to the options and prices you'll find in Osaka, at least when we went there, which was of June 2023. In part 1 of my Japan trip to Tokyo, I had mentioned getting into something I didn't expect to get into. I knew I wanted 1 or 2, but I really fell in deep here.
Who's that Pokemon?
Royal Navy にパーシウス。別にペルソウスでもよかったっけ？冗談よ。それで他に何か？じゃあよろしく。
For any of you that follow me and see my other videos that I make, you probably know I'm a huge fan of Azure Lane. I love this game, but I no longer play the mobile game Azure Lane, not by choice, but I just don't have the time. I mean, I love everything about this game. It's like a bullet hell game, all about World War II and collecting boat waifus. Yup, that's for me. Not to mention my favorite artist, Kinkora. She's done so many illustrations for them. This game just took up so much of my time, and I have to keep focusing on what's important in my life, and that's my super cute wife Vicky, and also my manga comic Blythe. And I also have a cat named Miri who's super cute. I like to give her attention from time to time. Because of this, I had to drop the game. So when I discovered that there's a card game that has a whole section of it that is devoted to Azur Lane, I was like, oh my god.
Looking for Azur Lane cards, and they always have like 1 or 2 here. Either they're like 20 bucks or like 400.
Please check condition.
Good.
And when I went into that store and I found that Perseus Nurse alternate art card signed by the voice actress, oh my god, this is so cool. It's my favorite artist too. Like this made me so happy that honestly I just kind of like, I was all in after that. I wanted to know everything about what this Weiss Schwarz game is, and you know what? This didn't all happen in Osaka. I just picked up the card there. So let's put a pin in this for now, and we'll get back to it in the next episode. There were so many street foods, which was completely opposite to Tokyo, and OMG, those food dollars. Oh my gosh, grilled cheese waffle pizza pocket amazingness. It's actually based off of their 10 yen coin, but I just kept calling it food dollar. I don't know why. We then walked a couple hours back to the hotel, grabbing some conveyor belt sushi along the way. On conveyor belts?
Ok, Sonia, explique-moi la situation.
So unfortunately, we were missing a plate for Erik, our great sushi adventure, and the waitress finally came to show up. And she brought us this small plate for children.
I can't get this carabine on. What are you guys talking about?
Your wonderful plate.
It's adorable. I don't know. It's my plate. Don't touch my plate.
I mean, I have heard of them, and I heard that there's a few where I live too, but I tried it there. The future is now, people. And that ends my time in Osaka. It was an emotional roller coaster that smoothed out the rest of my Japan trip for the most part. Last episode, I had mentioned being on the fence between 4 anime figures, and at this point, I still wasn't sure which one I wanted. Though I did decide I was gonna cut out Albedo because I don't know much about Overlord. I watched it, but it's not really my kind of show. Despite respecting it, it's just not for me. So out of the remaining 3, which one was I going to choose? Little did I know, Kyoto was gonna make the choice for me. But you'll see all that in episode 3.
Osaka was amazing, and now we're on our way to Kyoto, and this is super cute.
If you like my video just a little bit, it doesn't cost anything to hit that like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell. This way you'll be notified and keep tabs on me for when I come out with the next 2 episodes. You know, if ever you want to see them and maybe like them too, I'd super appreciate it. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.
Oh my god, where did the plane go? Oh my god. Oh, so many people. All lost. My god. Oh wait, no, there it is. Oh, phew. Oh, that was scary. Thought we lost that plane for a second there. I mean, I was really freaking. Oh my god, where did it go?